Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Camden and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review of Everton's 5-2 victory against West Bromwich Albion on Saturday at Goodison Park. Our second Premier League game of the season, first Premier League game at Goodison Park, and Carlo Ancelotti's Everton made it 6 points out of 6 with a fantastic second half performance against West Brom. It wasn't the best first half, but we made sure of it in the second half when we really turned it up again. And Carlo Ancelotti's Everton gaining 6 goals in their opening 2 Premier League games. 9 goals if you include the Carabao Cup fixture against Salford City, and pretty much having a perfect start to the season. And the 2 goals that we've conceded, arguably you could say, were avoidable. Now we're doing the stream a little bit earlier today. It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually we don't do them until 5 o'clock, but I had a little bit of spare time. I'm off work today, so I thought, you know what, we'd sit down and we'll talk about the game a little bit earlier on, because it was a brilliant result for Everton Football Club. And this game really showed what having that little bit of extra quality in your side can do for you, and having that player in there that can just create something from absolutely nothing, and how that will win you games of football. And we saw that on Saturday with James Rodriguez in there, Dominic Calvert-Lewin getting a hat-trick, Allen performing fantastically, Richarlison having a really good game as well, despite the fact he wasn't on the score sheet. Still had a really solid game. And like I said, the second half performance was absolutely exceptional from Everton. The first half, defensively, we were shaky, we weren't great. Carlo Ancelotti come out at the end of the game and said, look, a 5-2 scoreline didn't really reflect the game in the right way. He said defensively we weren't great going forward, we were brilliant, but defensively we need to be a lot better. And you can't disagree with Carlo Ancelotti. And I said in the instant match reaction how fantastic, how refreshing does it feel coming out of a football game in which Everton have won by 5-2, and sit there and say we still weren't as good as we possibly could be. We still could have improved in the first half, we still could have been better, we could have avoided their 2 goals, and we've still come out winning the game 5-2 and ultimately winning the game quite comfortably. And this again for me was another massive win for Everton Football Club. We will go into talking about the game and James Rodriguez and how fantastic he was, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, etc. Michael Keane as well. I want to talk about him, another goal for Michael Keane. But I want to talk about why this game's so important and why this win was so important. Not only because, it's the second Premier League game of the season, and it gave us an opportunity to go top of the table, where we stayed for a large, part of the weekend. I think Leicester overtook us yesterday, and I know it doesn't mean much because we're only a couple of games in, but not only was this a massive game because it was, good to keep the momentum going and nice to win your first game at Goodison Park, but it also seemed like another game where you sit back and you go, oh bloody hell, we won that game where we wouldn't usually win that game. And what I'm talking about there is, slowly but surely, every single week when Everton are winning games of football, we seem to be sitting back at the end of it and going, well, we haven't won in that way for a long time. The Tottenham game, where we haven't beat a top 6 side or a Sky top 6, whatever you want to call them, for a long time away from home. We haven't beat a team like that on the opening game of the season for a long time. We've done it already, first game of the season. This game, we're sitting back and you're going, how many times do we come back from 1-0 down and win a game emphatically? We don't really do that often. We've done it in this game. Under Carlo Ancelotti, we seem to be achieving this every single week, where we're sitting back going, we don't usually win games of football like that, but we've come out and we've won that game comfortably. And again, it is a mentality thing, and Carlo Ancelotti spoke about the mentality after the game and how, we need to improve the mentality, and it's not just about going out with all of the quality on the pitch, it's about having belief in yourself and having faith and believing that you can win and going out with a good team spirit, and that is what will win you games, that is what will win you trophies, having that team spirit, more than having a lot of quality on the pitch. And that's been proven in football for years and years, that it's not always the team with the best individual players win the trophies, it's the team with the best team spirit, the best morale and the best camaraderie that win those competitions, whether it be leagues, whether it be cups, whether it be Champions Leagues, whether it be World Cups. It's not always the 11 who have got the best players in world football. If that was the case, PSG would be winning the Champions League every year. Barcelona have won the Champions League, multiple times over the last few years, but they haven't. It's the sides that have got that camaraderie, that mightn't have the best footballers in the world, but that have got that little bit of quality and have got that team spirit, and that seems to be what Everton have got at the moment. And like I said, this game was another perfect example of a game where you sit back and you go, we don't usually go 1-0 down in games and come back and win. And again, I don't know if anybody else felt the same way or whether it was just me, but very similar to last week, I was sitting there watching this game on Saturday and we'd conceded the first goal, and okay, 5 or 10 minutes after we conceded the first goal, your arse sort of sitting there thinking, shit, we've conceded already, you know, we're 1-0 down already. It was a silly goal to concede defensively. But whereas last season under, you know, Marco Silva, or in previous years under previous managers, you'd concede the first goal and you'd sit back and go, that's it, it's game over. I remember multiple games in Marco Silva's first season, even in his second season, the game where we lost to Norwich at home, the game where we lost to Sheffield United towards the, you know, the start of last season, the start of the season before, no it wasn't, it was the start of last season, yeah, at home, and you know, I remember we were 1-0 down within 10 or 15 minutes, loads of time to get back into the game, loads of time to pick ourselves up and win that game of football, and I remember sitting there tweeting after going 1-0 down in the first 15 minutes and going, that's it, this is game over, we are not getting back into this game, because I don't think Everton managed to come back from 1-0 down under Marco Silva and win a game of football. And I know that's the past, and I know it doesn't mean much, and I know we've already proved under Carlo Ancelotti that we can come back and win games of football. But again, this was another prime example where, you know, we went against the we conceded against the run of play. We go 1-0 down, the momentum switches. West Brom all of a sudden start getting all of the confidence. They start getting all the momentum. They start getting all the positivity. And yet we still come out in the second half and we still turn it on. We had a lot of quality at the end of the first half to take us in 2-1 up. Obviously, West Brom lost their heads a little bit. Come out in the second half. We conceded straight away through what was a fantastic free kick. Probably avoidable, but a fantastic free kick. But we still pick ourselves up and we go again. And, you know, you only have to look at Everton's fourth goal on Saturday and it was like a training goal. The play was absolutely exquisite. It was one of the best goals you'll have seen all weekend in the Premier League. It won't be shown an awful lot on Match of the Day or on Sky Sports, because if it was scored by an Arsenal or them lot across the park or United or City, it'd be shown everywhere in the fantastic play. I'm talking about the one where James Rodriguez chips it over, Richarlison gets on the end of it, plays it across the box and Dom taps it in. It was an absolutely brilliant goal. It was fantastic football. And we made it look easy. And we made it look easy after being 1-0 down and after having the momentum switched against us and after playing against the wall a little bit in the first half. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have done that, because we were playing a side in West Brom who ultimately have only just been promoted to the Premier League, who struggled in their first game of the season against Leicester. So that was the expectation, that we went out and we won that game. The expectation was that if we went 1-0 down, we still come back and won that game. But you look at previous years and you think we haven't done that an awful lot, whether it be expected of us or not. We haven't been 1-0 down in games and come back to win. We haven't done an awful lot. And again, this game was another massive step for Everton Football Club in the right direction, as to showing that things are changing around this club and the mentality is changing. And again, like I said, I don't know about anybody else, but I sat back after, you know, we conceded the first goal, and after the 5 minutes of a little bit of, oh shit, you know, what's going on here, you sit back and you go, nah, we'll win this game. We're going to win this game. You know, we'll have an awful lot of chances in this game and we'll have too much for them. Obviously, we go 1-1. Again, nice flick by Dominic Calvert-Lewin after the VAR decision. We go 2-1 up, they lose their heads. And even when we went 2-2, I thought, nah, there's no way we're not winning this game. We're winning this game of football. And then, you sit back 90 minutes and you've won 5-2. It's a fantastic feeling to have that confidence in your side. And the reason we've got that confidence is because of the manager and because of the players the manager's brought in. And also because of how well the players that were at the club previous to Carlo Ancelotti coming in are performing now. Your Dominic Calvert-Lewin, your Richarlison, your Andre Gomez, you know, your Luca Dean, your Seamus Coleman, Michael Keane, you know, even Gylfi Sigurdsson coming off the bench, done really, really well on Saturday. And it was a great result, and like I said, considering the fact that we weren't perfect throughout the entire game, and we did struggle at times in the first half, and we did concede 2 goals that, you know, ultimately, okay, they were 2 fantastic finishes by Diangana and Pereira, but ultimately probably could have been avoided. Certainly Diangana's effort, if Yerry Mina doesn't step off, you know, and allow him the shot, you know, it could have been avoided. And the free kick, for me, Jordan Pickford could have done with being a little bit over to his left-hand side, and Yerry Mina could have jumped, and if he would have jumped, it wouldn't have gone in. But ultimately, we've won the game. We've come away with a win, and it was a fantastic way to do it, and a really dominant performance going forward. And like I said, it just shows what having that little bit of quality in your side does for you. Everton haven't had a player with as much creative prowess as James Rodriguez in absolute years. I can only remember a couple of Everton players that could step into a team and have such an impact as James Rodriguez. Mikel Arteta was one of them. Every time he got the ball, you knew something was going to happen. It's the same with James Rodriguez. Every time the ball goes at his feet, there was a stat in the Tottenham game that every single Everton player passed to James Rodriguez at least once in the game. Very similar stat in this game. Every time the ball goes to him, you know he is either going to create something directly, whether it be a shot on goal, whether it be an assist, whether it be a fantastic chip ball over, or he's going to give it to Luca Dean, who's in a brilliant position to put a cross in, or he's going to give it to a Richarlison, who's in a fantastic position to get a shot away. The creativity is exactly what we've needed. We sat here in the summer and we spoke about the need for, midfielders, and the need for a midfielder who is, big and has a massive presence in the middle of the park. Somebody like an Abdoulaye Doucouré or an Allen who throws his foot in, who isn't afraid to get his socks dirty, who gets about the pitch, who throws the tackles in, who breaks the play up. And we spoke about the need for that. And I think the creative midfielder, the need for creative midfielder went under the carpet a little bit because of how much we struggled last season without Idrissa Gana Gueye, and how desperate we were for that sort of midfielder that sits in the middle of the park and breaks up the play and, covers every blade of grass and throws challenges in. And when we brought Allen in, and obviously when we were rumoured with Abdoulaye Doucouré, we knew that those players were going to fit into that Idrissa Gana Gueye-like role and perform in there, because that's what they do, albeit with more quality than Gana, I think it's fair to say. But when we brought Hammers in, I was absolutely over the moon, not only because it was a massive signing in regards to marketing wise and because he's a fantastic player, but for me, we desperately needed the creative spark in the centre of that midfield last season. Our midfield scored 5 goals last season altogether, whether it be Sigurdsson, Delph, Gbamin, Gomez, Davis. 5 goals altogether in the entirety of a Premier League season. That is absolutely atrocious. It is utterly embarrassing. This season we've brought in a creative midfielder who is just head and shoulders above anybody that he's playing with on the pitch in the opposition, and creative wise is just he's just a level ahead of everybody. He sees passes that nobody else sees, he sees balls that opposition can't see, and he showed that. And to be honest with you, a lot of credit has to go to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a lot of credit has to go to Andre Gomez, a lot of credit has to go to Richarlison, because these players have only played with James Rodriguez for a week or so. They've only been training with James Rodriguez for 5 or 6 days prior to the Spurs game, 10, 11 days prior to the game against West Brom, and they're seeing his runs, they're seeing the balls over the top, they're seeing where he's going to play it, they're getting on the end of it, they've got that connection. And I can't remember who it was who said it, but it was one of the commentators in the game, and he said, usually players with that much creativity, or in the likes of Allen or Doucouré, players with that much effect on the team, usually they take a couple of months to really sort of hit the ground running and have an impact on the team. But these 3 players have come in and have had an instant impact as if they've been playing for Everton for years. The players around them are taken to them as if they've been training with them for weeks and weeks and weeks. It really is. It's mad when you think about it, because you look at the runs Richarlison's making and you're thinking, he has been desperate for somebody like James Rodriguez in this team for the 2 years he's been at the football club, and he knows where the ball's going to be, when it's going to be there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin knows where he needs to go. Usually you see a lot of passes when players come in to a team, a lot of passes going wide or astray, or you think, oh, that's a great ball, but he just wasn't aware of that because they haven't had that connection yet. They haven't got that telepathic connection yet. But it seems like every other player in the Everton side knows where the next ball is going to be played, and that's why we're creating these opportunities, and that's why we're getting on the end of them and scoring goals. And for me, it was a fantastic finish, that 4th goal. We'll go into talking about it in a little bit. We will get into the live comments. A big thanks to everybody for watching. I understand that this is an afternoon stream and it's unusual for me to stream, and I didn't really give it a lot of notice, so big thanks to everybody. We will get into the live comments. If you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that like button. 59 people currently watching. Big thanks for watching. If you could, share the stream on social media, get as many people in here as possible. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Before we go on, by the way, I just want to say a massive thank you for all of the support recently. It has been absolutely unbelievable, honestly. The support on the instant match reaction, the support on the player ratings, anybody that's recently subscribed or liked or viewed the channel, a big thank you to each and every one of you. And anybody that's been subscribed for months, years, and who comes back day in, day out to watch the content, a big thanks to each and every one of you as well. There's loads of popular names that have been around for literally years, so I really do appreciate each and every one of you, honestly. Let's get into the live comments briefly then before we go on to talk more about the game. Sportbot just says, hey Cam, hope you're having a splendid day. I'm not too bad, mate, hope you're doing well yourself. He also says, we have been quiet in the transfer, now we need a right winger and a centre back. because Walker and Balassi, I'm going to say, aren't cutting it. Yeah, I do think we need a right winger, to be honest. I do think we need a right winger. Centre-back as well. I think we need to sort of step up the search for the centre-back now because, you know, obviously with Jared Branthwaite being injured, Mason Holgate being injured, we're on thin ice, really. And again, you know, we've got, obviously, Michael Keane and Yerry Mina, who are the first-team centre-halves, or the players that play week in, week out. But it'll only take a knock to one of those two, and, you know, it could be quite worrying. So we do need to go in and sort of step up the market for the centre-back. And I think for me, in regards to Tomori, because I know Tomori's name's probably going to come up an awful lot. In regards to Tomori, for me, you go to Chelsea, you go to Frank Lampard and you say yes or no. And if he hesitates, if he says no, if he doesn't say, yeah, you can sign him on loan, then you go, you know what, we're walking away. We're absolutely, because I don't, Everton can't be in another situation like Kurt Zouma last summer where we're going, yeah, no, maybe, call us tomorrow, let's see next week, let's talk to the player, and then it gets to the final day of the window and they go, no, you're not signing him, and then we're left with no cover whatsoever. Everton need to go out there now, and I honestly do believe Carlo Ancelotti will go out there and say to Chelsea, listen, stop pissing about, yes or no, and if Frank Lampard hesitates, just go, you know what, keep him, we'll walk away, we'll go and look for somebody else, because we can't be wasting too much time on this transfer. We've already wasted a week and a half on when we were told we could sign him to now obviously he's not an Everton player. Multi-purpose channel says hi mate. Adamski says let's go Cam, what's happening mate? Chris says hi pal, hope you're well. I'm not too bad mate, hope you're doing well. Multi-purpose says we mean business for the first time in a long time. We do. Ian says hey Carlo Italiano. The multi-purpose says, I think the less signings we make, the more quality we'll bring in. Will make us a great team. Chris says, I'm off work from yesterday till Tuesday. Is right, mate. I'm off until tomorrow. Back in tomorrow. Adamski says, how do you think our centre-back situation will play out for Fleetwood? I was thinking about this. Obviously, we're going to do the preview to the Fleetwood game tomorrow, so I'll have my game preview and my predicted starting 11. But I think it will be... I think it'll be Michael Keane again. I think Michael Keane will play again because he seems to be doing well. He's keeping his fitness up. He doesn't seem to have any issues. Obviously, he scored in the last two games. And as for who sits next to him, you know, a lot of people will say maybe Lewis Gibson, but I don't think it will be Lewis Gibson because I think Lewis Gibson's going to go out on loan. Some people may say Luca Dean, obviously, because he come in during the Salford game through the injury to Jared Branthwaite. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. We might look in the youth development and bring somebody else in, or he might play Luca Dean at centre-back, or... yeah, or John Joe Kenny maybe. I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one. It is going to be a difficult one. I'll have to have a little bit of a think about that. And James says, yes, Cam, you good, mate. So refreshing to watch our teammate buzzing so much. Yeah, I'm brilliant, mate. I'm brilliant. And I agree, 100% spot on. It really, really is refreshing to see Everton turning up and winning games of football so comfortably. So anyway, let's dissect the game a little bit. Like we said, you know, we start the game off. Everton naturally have the more of the ball in the opening sort of 3 to 5 minutes. We're controlling the game. We do create a couple of opportunities, which I think some people sort of forgot about at the start of the game. We do create a couple of good opportunities, balls into the box, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets on the end of them and he just headers wide, and he's frustrated with himself, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because I think he feels he should have done better and he feels he should have scored, and I think all of us at the time felt he should have done better with those as well. There's two in particular, balls come into the box and he gets on the end of them. The first one is a little bit easier of a chance than the second one, but ultimately he should be getting them on target at the very least. I think he heads wide for both of them. And you know, you're sort of thinking, right, okay, couple of chances early on, let's continue, and you know, you're thinking, let's go out there, get one goal, knock their confidence a little bit, go and get another two, kill the game off completely, and then just sort of, you know, make it easy for ourselves and play nice football around and you know, continue to go out and press. And you know, we create those opportunities in the opening 5 minutes. We don't take them, but you're sort of confident in thinking, right, okay, we're going to create an awful lot more in this game. They're very open defensively. They're very easy to play through defensively as well, although... you know, Diangana looked a threat from the first minute. He looked full of confidence and looked like a brilliant player for them. You're sort of thinking defensively, they haven't got an awful lot to stop the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin or your James Rodriguez or your Richarlison. And then all of a sudden, completely against the run of play, completely on the counter-attack, Grady Diangana's given the ball and he must run half the length of the pitch. Yerry Mina's continuing to back off him, and there must have been a period of about 10 seconds where you're sitting there thinking, why are you backing off him now? Step forward. Either step forward and put a foot in and take the foul 35 yards away from the goal, or step forward and just stand there and he'll run into you. And the likelihood is the ball will run into you as well and you can get it away. But Yerry Mina doesn't. He continues to back off. And I think Yerry Mina underestimates Grady Diangana in this position, and I think he sort of invites the shot on thinking he ain't going to hit it cleanly from here, and it definitely ain't going to go in the back of the net. And to be fair to Diangana, he hits it very, very clean, good shot, and it goes into the back of the net. And you're sort of sitting there thinking, well, it's a stupid goal to concede because he's ran half the length of the pitch. You've backed off him from a position where if you stood up, you're either going to get the ball back and tackle him in a decent position, or you're giving a foul away. Realistically, nowhere near the goal with very little chance of them scoring from it. Okay, Yerry Mina might have thought he might be last man and he might, jeopardise getting himself a red card. But he doesn't. He backs off. Diangana hits it. It's a fantastic effort and it goes into the corner of the net, and all of a sudden, completely against the run of play, 8 minutes in, Everton have had 2 clear-cut opportunities already at this point, and yet we're 1-0 down at home to a West Brom team that, again, haven't looked fantastic in that opening 5 minutes. But through a bit of magic and through defensive errors, they've gone 1-0 up, and you're sort of sitting there thinking, well, that's stupid. That's really, really stupid. That's a silly goal to concede. We didn't need to concede that. We didn't need to back off them. Let's go out there and wake up. Now, for me, I said in the instant match reaction that I think Jordan Pickford's slightly at fault for this. Don't get me wrong, I think the main culprit is Yerry Mina. He should never, ever, ever back off the attacker as much as he did. Do I think that Jordan Pickford should have done better? Honestly, I do. I think that Jordan Pickford should do a lot better in this situation, to be perfectly honest with you. Ultimately, I just don't think he fully extends his arms. I don't think he fully extends to make his, to get himself in the best position as possible. But, again, the most blame goes on Yerry Mina for this one. He backs off, he allows the shot, and, ultimately the lad puts his foot through it and it goes in the corner of the net, and you're thinking, right, okay, 1-0 down. And from that point on, it was always going to be the case, it always is with football, is West Brom got the momentum then. West Brom felt their way into the game, they got a lot of confidence from it, they sort of started to believe in themselves, they sort of started to believe, hang on, maybe we can actually get back into this game and maybe we'll actually win this game of football and bounce back from the defeat last week to Leicester City. And again, they had an awful lot of the ball. They weren't creating an awful lot of opportunities. They had the post on one occasion. They were breaking us forward. Diangana was playing an absolute free flow. Free flow. He loved it. He was enjoying it. You could see he was full of confidence. He was bursting. And, they were putting pressure on us. And yes, okay, we were probably doing better with the ball. And we dealt with a lot of the pressure, in good ways. Like I said, they broke through a couple of times, hit the post on one occasion. But we gifted them confidence that we didn't need to give them. We gifted them belief in themselves that we didn't need to give them. We made them think, hang on, we can get at these here, and they'll back off, or the keeper's maybe, not ready to fully extend. So if we get the ball in a certain part of the corner, it's more than likely going to go in. If we hit it from range, it's going to cause trouble. And we didn't need to give them that confidence, and we didn't need to, make them believe in that. But we did through the mistakes that we made. Ultimately, the first half continues. Like I said, we have a couple of half chances to level it up. They continue to go on. They continue to threaten us, going forward. Like I said, there wasn't an awful lot, but they hit the post on one occasion, which was quite unlucky, and in another game could have gone in. And, all of a sudden, sort of 5-10 minutes before half time, it all goes up in the air. We start to get control of the ball a little bit more. We start to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and go, no, you know what? We're the team who have just beat Spurs away. We're the team who should be fighting for European football. We're going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, and we're going to go out there, get back in it and win it. And you sort of seen that towards the last 10-15 minutes of the first half. We've done that a little bit. We created a couple of more opportunities. The momentum switched, and you'd always felt like it was only a matter of time before Everton get back into the game. Ball comes into the box, of course, like I said, 10 minutes before half time. It looks like it comes off Richarlison's head. It looks like Dominic Calvert-Lewin's in an offside position. Dom backheels it. Fantastic goal, by the way. Really, really good skill by Dominic Calvert-Lewin to backheel it in the net. And the assistant's got his flag up, and you're sort of thinking, oh my God, is this offside? Are they going to disallow this? Obviously, it goes to VAR, and we start to see the replays on telly, and it looks blatantly, and it is blatantly like the head. The ball comes off the defender's head, and they bring in Peter Walton, I think it is, to talk about it, and he says he believes it's deliberate, and it's changed the flow of play with the ball coming off the defender's head, and he believes the goal should stand. And I don't know whether it's as an Evertonian or as a football fan of a club that doesn't necessarily get these decisions an awful lot, you're sitting back thinking, we're never getting this. they're going to disallow this all day. There's no way they're letting this stand. They're going to make some bullshit excuse about how Richarlison pushes the defender, or how the defender's backs to goal so he doesn't know where he is. They're just never allowing this goal. Ultimately, after 2.5, 3 minutes of consultation, the referee allows it and it's 1-1, and you're sort of thinking, right, brilliant, we're back into this game now. Stop the stupid mistakes. Stop allowing them back into it. Go out, get a second before half-time, and then just go and completely dominate after that. I think West Brom lost their heads a little bit at this situation. Obviously, the James goal was, we'll talk about in a second, but I think as soon as that first goal went in, as soon as that Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal went in, and they sort of felt a little bit undone by the VAR and by the fact that it come off the back of the defender's head when his back wasn't facing, and I think Slaven Bilic sort of thought that it should have been a foul by Richarlison. I think they felt a little bit hard done by it, and like I said, it's a fantastic flick by Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and it should have stood because it comes blatantly off the defender, and it was the complete right decision for that goal to stand. If it wouldn't have stood, it would have been utterly embarrassing from the FA's part, and it would have been called into question as to why that goal wouldn't have stood. But it did stand, correct decision, and like I said, Everton make it 1-1, and I think West Brom started to get frustrated a little bit at that point. And then ultimately, 5 minutes, 6 minutes before the end of the first half, that little bit of magic that we spoke about at the start of the stream, that little bit of quality, that bit of creativity that we've been crying out for in this Everton side for years and years and years, shines through. James Rodriguez, who at this point had had a decent game, he was getting involved, he was dropping deep, he was picking the ball up, and passing was, fantastic, but he wasn't really getting into the game creative-wise like you would have wanted him to. He was doing well in terms of picking the ball up and playing it, he was doing well in terms of getting around the pitch, but he wasn't really providing those creative balls across the box that you would have liked. And that wasn't his fault, that was just because for the majority of the first half, the momentum was on West Brom's side, and they had a lot of the ball, and they were putting a lot of pressure on us. If you're not enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. We will be getting back into the live comments in just a moment. Big thanks to everybody who has put a comment in already. I really do appreciate all of the support. Like I said, share the live stream. Let's try and get as many people in here as possible. But that little bit of magic, like I said, Richarlison, who by the way was involved in some way in all 4 goals, involved in the first goal with the pressure on the defender that ultimately made the defender head it back, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin put a good finish into the back of the net. The second goal, of course, which you get an assist from, where he breaks forward. Fabi says, please, I implore you, go slow in your speech. I am Hispanic and having a hard time to understand what you say. Sorry, mate, I'll try and go a little bit slower. I do apologise. Richarlison gets the ball, breaks it forward, really good play. Again, you're sort of thinking he's going to have a pop, is he going to have a shot? Plays it off to James Rodriguez, and James Rodriguez with an absolute moment of sheer world-class football, takes it on his left-hand side. Tried this shot a couple of times against Spurs, by the way, where he moves it onto his left-hand side and he tries to curl it into the corner, takes it onto his left-hand side, puts it the other side of the keeper, and it's 2-1. And all of a sudden, that, like I said, that creative spark, that little bit of just pure quality that we haven't had in this squad for years and years and years, that player that all of a sudden, in a moment where you don't think anything's going to happen, can get you a goal. We saw that on Saturday. Moment of quality. James Rodriguez gets it on his left-hand side, cuts it across the goalkeeper. It's 2-1. All of a sudden, after a quite poor first half by Everton Football Club, certainly defensively, we seem to be going into the half-time 2-1 up. A little bit of a scrappy goal for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but a good back-heel finish and a world-class finish by James Rodriguez. And you're thinking, this is the Everton I want to see. The Everton I want to see is Everton that haven't necessarily had a great game, haven't necessarily had a great first half, however, are going in 2-1 up, and ultimately winning this game of football, even if we don't really deserve to be winning it. We go 2-1 up, and like I said, there's 3 to 5 minutes before the end of the first half, and you're sort of thinking, right, okay, massive positivity, and all of a sudden, completely off the ball in a challenge that I didn't even see first time. By the way, I didn't see first time. I had to see the replay because I was following the ball, and I just saw the referee blow up when West Brom goalkeeper had the ball at his feet, and I thought, what's going on here? And it went to James Rodriguez. He was on the floor, he was holding his face, and the commentators were saying it seems to be an off the ball incident. They didn't seem to have seen it as well, so you're sort of thinking, right, okay, I don't know whether there's been a little bit of an altercation, I don't know whether there's been a little bit of a colliding, what's going on really? And the red card comes out, and you're sort of thinking, hang on, he's giving him a red card straight away without needing to be consulted by VAR, without having to look at the monitor, without having to talk to anybody. This must be pretty bad. And of course the replay shows it again, and Kieran Gibbs, from a West Brom point of view, I don't know what he is doing. He has absolutely lost that game of football for his team there by putting his team 10 men down away from home against the side who were firing on all cylinders in terms of attacking wise. He just completely lashes out at James Rodriguez. And don't get me wrong, James gives him a little bit of a nudge. He gives him a little bit of a shoulder barge before it, but it wasn't anything stupid. You know, we had the ball at his feet, and he releases the ball, and James is a little bit late and shoulder charges him. And okay, it's probably a little bit snide by James Rodriguez, but that's what you want to see. You want to see your players have that little bit of snide in them, that little bit of, right, okay, you've got the ball here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a nudge and you're going to retaliate. And James Rodriguez had obviously been on that side of the pitch for, advert playing there, just went on the live stream to share the link, and the advert played. James Rodriguez had obviously he'd obviously been on that side of the pitch for the majority of the first half, and he'd obviously seen Kieran Gibbs getting more and more frustrated after the first Everton goal. He'd obviously seen Kieran Gibbs getting more and more frustrated, and he gave him a little bit of a nudge. Yes, it was off the ball. Yes, it was a little bit provoked, but he gave him a little bit of a nudge, and then Kieran Gibbs completely lashes out. It is a straight red card, no arguments whatsoever. Throws his arm in his face. Kieran Gibbs doesn't even have any arguments, walks straight off, and all of a sudden you're thinking, what is going on here? 10 minutes ago, we were 1-0 down. They had the momentum, and it looked like a really, really bad first half for Everton, where we were going to go in 1-0 down. 10 minutes later, we're 2-1 up. We've just seen an absolutely magnificent bit of quality from James Rodriguez, and they're down to 10 men because somebody's just lashed him in the face. What is going on here? Like I said, they go down to 10 men, couple of minutes goes, first half ends, and then Slaven Bilic bounces on the pitch. And I originally thought he was arguing with the referee about the red card decision. I thought he was arguing with the referee about why it shouldn't have been a red card. Ultimately, it turns out he wasn't. He was arguing about the goal and how he believed the first goal shouldn't have counted because he thinks there was a foul by Richarlison on the defender. But Slaven Bilic then gets a red card. Don't know what he said. Don't know, how he said it or what language he used, but the referee very clearly wasn't happy with Slaven Bilic, and he gets a red card. And you're sitting there thinking, it's half time, we're 2-1 up, we haven't played well, and their manager's being sent off and sent to the stands, and one of their most experienced players is being sent off and lashing out at a player. What is going on here? Ultimately, we're going in 2-1 up at half time, and it's a good place to be in. It is a good place to be in, and the momentum switched to our side. They've lost their head a little bit, and you're thinking, right, okay, go out now and kill the game off. We'll get into the live comments then before we talk about the second half. I do want to talk about James Rodriguez. I do want to talk about Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin as well. I want to talk about Alan as well because I thought he was absolutely superb. If you're enjoying the live stream, like I said, please do share it. It only does take a second. If we can get 100 people watching live, it would mean a massive amount to me. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe as well. Please do hit the like button. Eugene says Everton linked with Bailey. Ian says we should perhaps cause any interest in Tomori if he can't displace Zuma. James says Carlo knows we have to get better, so happy mate. He does. He knows defensively we have to get better, and you can't disagree with Carlo Ancelotti on that. We do. Chris says Everton still need to improve defensively, but apart from that, you look good elsewhere. We do. Wayne says get to work, lad. Judosa, we need Koulibaly. I'm off today, mate. I'm off today. Dosby says hi guys. Hi Cal, my mate. Hope you're doing well. Eugene talks about Wilfred Zaha. Played really, really well yesterday against Man United, didn't he? Chris says Everton need that centre-back leader. They all need IMO. Well, again, we need, I think, when you look at our centre-back options and, when everybody's fully fit, you've got Mason Holgate there who seems to be a really, really good young player, showing a lot of leadership quality, showing a lot of quality, and he could be that centre half who becomes the leader in the team. But ultimately, at the moment, we've got two big injuries in that position, and we're playing realistically with two Premier League centre halves. And if one of them picks up an injury, it's worrying, isn't it? Wayne says we need to sign a better backup keeper and centre back as priorities. Would prefer a new keeper. Fair enough. Underground says we need a centre-back because Mina looked shaky. He did look shaky. We'll talk about Yerry Mina in a second, actually, because he didn't look great, certainly in that first half. Wayne says Zaha would be so nice. Sell Keane tomorrow to fund it. Listen, it's whether we get the bid for Keane, and it's whether Crystal Palace would accept a reasonable bid for Zaha, or whether they want something absolutely stupid like last season. Ewan says Dean on how Everton is showing character. Wayne says get the likes for Cam. He's got a Bosch channel. Come on, Blues, show support. Thank you very much, Wayne. Really, really do appreciate that, mate. Ian says wish Carlo would find us a Baresi for the back line. Listen, if anybody can, Carlo and Marcel can, that's for sure. Underground says Andre Gomez was invisible. Give someone his spot. I didn't think he done too bad on the ball, to be honest. He wasn't as involved as he was against Spurs last week, but I don't think he done awfully. Ian says Gary Neville on Everton win over West Brom. Wayne says, can't believe Gordon, our new left back, wasn't rewarded for playing well in the cup with a place on the bench. Would have been the first two names for me. Bad message that we should reward back good games. Well, but they'll both start, won't they, on Wednesday? They'll both start against Fleetwood. And again, I assume the message from Carlo Ancelotti will be, go out there and perform again. Let me see you go and perform, you know, an 8, 9, 10 out of 10 again. And then if you do, you might be involved on Saturday in some form against Crystal Palace. It keeping the competition up. And for me, you know, the likes of Nkunku, Anthony Gordon, even Moise Keane should be looking at it thinking, right, okay, I just need to work harder. James says you don't mess with a winning team. For me, you're spot on, I agree. Philip says, hi all. Hi Philip. Marsha says, brilliant performance from everyone apart from Yerry, Gomez and Pickford. Wayne says, swap Gomez for Zaha. We'd have the best midfield in the Prem. Richarlison, Alan Decore, James Rodriguez, Zaha and DCL. That would be boss. Imagine that, mate. John says should buy Brighton right back. Lampretti. Lapati, is it? Yeah. He's an alright player. Mike says, honestly, I don't know what Andre Gomes brings to the team. Slow, lethargic on the ball, gives away silly fouls. Gylfi offers more in that position. Not a lot of people happy with Andre Gomes' performance on Saturday. That's new to me, That's new to me. Victor says, hi, I'm contacting from Colombia. Now Everton will become my favourite team. Thank you very much, Victor. Really, really do appreciate that, mate. Honestly, it means a lot. Ravel says, finally, Everton get a world-class player and a star player in James Rodriguez. Yes, how brilliant is that to say? Where are we then? And Ian says, Mina seemed to swerve out of the way the first goal. And James says, same 11 for the cup. And same again for the league for me. Yeah, he did. He seemed to back off for the first goal. And, you know, basically not jump for the free kick. And I think Yerry Mina struggled on Saturday. And I don't really know why. Because I thought he was really, really good, to be honest, against Spurs. And I thought he had a really, really solid game. So I don't really know the reason behind him struggling on Saturday. But ultimately he did. You know, he struggled, you know, he wasn't brilliant, and he needs to improve, certainly, given the fact that we've only got him and Michael Keane as the, you know, main centre-halves, if you like, now, obviously, with Mason Holgate and Jared Branthwaite injured. Yerry Mina needs to improve. He can't afford to be being that defensively shaky week in, week out. He just can't afford it. But yeah, like I said, he did struggle. But anyway, we'll go into the second half then, and then I want to talk about some individual performances. So we come out in the second half and you're thinking, right, okay, momentum's on our side. We've performed relatively poorly up to now, but we've had a good end to the second half and they've lost their head a little bit, obviously, with Keenan Gibbs being sent off and Slaven Bilic being sent off. And all of a sudden, in the opening 5 minutes of the second half, they get a free kick, 25-30 yards out. You're thinking, no danger here, easily covered by Jordan Pickford, no issues whatsoever. A lot of people showing love for Victor in the house. Big up. Let me know where you're from in the comment section down below. If you're watching live, big thanks for watching live. If you're watching the YouTube video, leave your comments as well down below. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you are supporting the channel and Everton from. Philip says, Vamos Victor. Ian says, Victor in the house. Abigail says, hola Victor, buenos dias. Victor, again, says, contacting from Colombia. Now Everton will become my favourite team. Thank you very much, mate. We will get back in the live comments. But like I said, West Brom get a free kick, 20 yards, 25 yards out. You're sort of thinking, no danger here. Easily covered by Jordan Pickford. The wall should easily cover it. Simple. Ball goes over, and don't get me wrong, it is an absolutely fantastic free kick, which is not only placed to perfection, but it's got the right amount of power, it's got the right amount of dip, it is just brilliant. But for me, it's avoidable. Not only is the free kick avoidable to give away in the first place, but the goal's avoidable. You know, you look at the replay and Yerry Mina doesn't jump in the way that he should. He should be dealing with that all day long. He should be jumping. He doesn't. He sort of moves his head a little bit, but he's got his eyes open as if he's like shying away from it. You can't do that. You cannot do that in this day. If a ball's coming towards you, you're jumping up, and even if you're letting it smack you in the face, you're letting it smack you in the face all day. Amanda says, just subscribe. Thank you very much, Amanda. You're letting it smack you in the face. That's just the way it is. And he doesn't. He sort of shies away from it. Ball goes over, and like I said, for me, Jordan Pickford should be covering that. He's far too central in his goal for me. You know, when you've got a free kick, I understand that being central is probably the most ideal position to be in because it covers both sides. But for me as a goalkeeper, you sort of have to gamble on which side the attacker is gonna, which side the attacker's gonna place the ball, because ultimately, for me Pereira looked like he was only going to place it in one position, and that's exactly where he placed it. Keeper's right-hand side, or keeper's left-hand side, sorry. And Jordan Pickford just doesn't gamble on that. He stays too central, and ultimately doesn't give himself enough time to get over. And he doesn't get over, and like I said, he's too late. And don't get me wrong, the free kick is absolutely exquisite. And even if Jordan Pickford's positioning was on point, he probably would have struggled to save it because it was that good of a free kick. But I just don't think he gives himself as good of a chance as what he would if he was a little bit over to the left hand side, and he'd have had a little bit more time to sort of dive, and he'd have already been positioned in that place. But again, you know, it becomes the 2-2, and you're sort of thinking, right, okay, they've bounced back, they've got 10 men. You know, they've got a free kick. They've again scored a really, really good goal. Great finish. Can we just sort of kill this game off? Now, ultimately, we should be killing it off. We're at home. They're a side that have only just been promoted, been out the Premier League for years and years and years, and they've got 10 men at Goodison Park. We should be killing this game off, and we do. Ultimately, from that point on, from that free kick conceded, we switched it. You know, we go into second, third gear then. And, you know, we just completely dominate from that point. We continue to attack. We get a corner. Brilliant ball played in. Richarlison gets on the end of it. Again, Richarlison being involved in another goal. Not an assist, but obviously he was involved in the first goal, indirectly involved in the second goal. Hammers is directly with the assist. Again, involved in the third goal. Jumps up for the header. Heads it down. Keeper makes a good save. And Michael Keane's on the end of it for an easy finish. And then you're thinking, right, 3-2. Let's go and kill it off now. Don't let them get back into the game. Don't do anything stupid. Just go out and kill it off. And then we do exactly that. The fourth goal for me is absolutely exquisite. I want to talk about the fourth goal because we may as well highlight it now while we're talking about it. For me, one of the best goals I've seen in an Everton shirt for a long, long time. In terms of the quality, in terms of, like I said, the passages of play, the telepathy between Hammers to Richarlison to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it was just brilliant. So Alan's got the ball on the edge of the box. I'm sure you've all seen it. He's playing it round. He's using it well. Obviously, he's looking for a pass. He passes it to James Rodriguez. James with an absolutely exquisite chip over the top. Richarlison times his run to perfection, gets on the end of it, plays it across the box. Still some discussion whether it's a pass or a shot, but ultimately plays it across the box, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's there to finish it easily. 4-2 up, and you're thinking then, right, okay, Dom's on a hat-trick. You don't see West Brom getting back into this game. 4-2 down, 10 men at Goodison Park. You know, all the momentum on our side. You just don't see them getting back into it. And like I said, for me, one of the best goals we've seen at Goodison Park. One of the best goals I've seen for Everton in a long, long time. The passage of play, the quality. And that's what bringing that creativity in the midfield. Again, I'll sit here and I'll talk for hours and hours and hours about the, you know, how important James Rodriguez's creativity is in the centre of that midfield. Having that player that sees that ball and that has got the ability to chip that ball over to Richarlison, who ultimately just has to get on the end of it, play a good ball across the box, and then Dom has to be on the end of that. And they do. Richarlison's in the right place at the right time. Really good ball across the box. Dom's in the right place at the right time to finish it. And James Rodriguez has got all of the creativity to make that goal happen. And it's a brilliant, brilliant finish. And that, for me, watching that goal sort of felt a little bit like we were watching a training session. And that is so, so refreshing to watch Everton play in the Premier League in a game that would be 1-0 down in and score goals that you're sort of sitting back going, wow, that looks like they're just at Finch Farm, that pissing about. It just looked so easy for them, and it was a fantastic, fantastic goal. And obviously, you know, corner comes in again, really, really good ball in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets on the end of it, scores his third goal, hat-trick, 5-2, game's over. We then get another one, which I think is a fantastic, fantastic finish. Ball across the box by Gylfi Sigurdsson. Richarlison gets on the end of it. Exquisite, considering how fast the ball's coming at him. It's an absolutely brilliant finish by Richarlison, but ultimately he's offside and it doesn't count. And it's unfortunate to not count, really, because it is a fantastic, fantastic goal. And yet, you know, we go 5-2 up. Again, we continue to create, we continue to get at them, and ultimately, you know, we see the game out and we win. And it's a fantastic, fantastic result after what was a shaky first half. And that's exactly what Carlo Ancelotti said. Carlo Ancelotti said, considering the first half wasn't brilliant and we need to be better defensively, we've come out in the second half and we've showed our quality and we've showed our ability, and it was a fantastic result at the end of it. And like I said, that shows what having a player like James Rodriguez, who's got the creativity to make something happen out of nowhere. We've seen it twice on Saturday. We've seen it a lot of times. The amount of balls he played over the box, which, you know, Luca Dean got on the end of, or Dominic Calvert-Lewin got on the end of, or Richarlison got on the end of, but we just didn't score from it. The amount of times we saw that 5, 6, 7 times. You know, the 2 goals, obviously, fantastic finish by him, world-class finish. And then obviously for the 4th goal, a brilliant chip ball over the box. over the top. That just shows how having somebody with that creativity. James Rodriguez isn't just a superstar, by the way. He's not just a worldwide name. He is a top quality footballer, and he has shown that. Carlo Ancelotti was asked about him at the end of the game, and as soon as the name came out the reporter's mouth, Carlo Ancelotti smiled. And he was asked about James and how important he is to the team and how well he's settled in. And he says, listen, Carlo Ancelotti said, listen, when you've got a player like James Rodriguez, he just makes football look easy. Football is easy to James Rodriguez. It's not difficult. He doesn't make it difficult. He just makes it look easy. And again, James didn't seem like he got out of third, fourth gear on Saturday, and he still looked a level above anybody on the opposition, and everybody that played with him, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, up their game an awful lot because they're benefiting from that creativity. And honestly, I can see so much coming from that creative spark of James this season. Fantastic performance from him. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin getting the hat-trick definitely deserves a mention. Brilliant performance, getting better week in, week out. 4 goals in 2 Premier League games. Top goal scorer joint with Son. Obviously this season, showing his consistency now, showing that he can be in the right place at the right time. Scored a fantastic header against Spurs. All 3 goals he scored on Saturday, 2 of the goals he scored on Saturday were purely just right place at the right time and being on the end of good balls or being on the end of situations, and that's what you want to see. It's all good having your striker, scoring world-class goals and fantastic headers from corners and from crosses like Dominic Calvert-Lewin does, but you also need them to be in the right place at the right time, getting on the end of them balls that flash across the box or that bounce up off somebody's arse or bounce up off a defender's head. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin showed on Saturday that he is there now. He's getting to those balls, he's getting to those opportunities, and he's scoring those simple goals as well as the difficult goals. Even the third goal, I think it comes off his back or his top of his shoulder or something, but it's a fantastic leap, and it's a good guided header or back, wherever it comes off, it's fantastically guided and it goes in the top of the net. Richarlison again, 2 assists, involved in all 4 goals. Fantastic performance. Didn't get his goal, but you feel like it's only coming with Richarlison, and for me, like I said, unfortunate to not get his goal, but you do sit there thinking it's only a matter of time before Richarlison gets his goal. It's only a matter of time before Richarlison opens his scoring, and it's only a matter of time before Richarlison, again, like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, really starts to believe, really starts to benefit from the creativity in the team. For Allen was absolutely fantastic throughout the game as well, probably the most consistent performer in regards to in that first half. He looked brilliant as well. Like I said, there wasn't many Everton players that I think in that opening 30-35 minutes could have come off the pitch and gone, you know what, I've performed really well there, but Allen was one of them. Really consistent, breaking up the play in the middle of that park, using his body well. Every time he had the ball, he was moving it forward, showing that he's not just somebody that breaks the play up and that throws tackles in. He's also very good on the ball, good creative-wise, gets forward, bursted through that midfield on a number of occasions and played some good balls to Richarlison. Abdoulaye Doucouré the same, positional-wise, got caught a couple of times, but other than that, done fantastically well when he had the ball at his feet, was using the ball well. And ultimately, like I said, with the exception of a couple of shaky defensive performances from Yerry Mina and potentially Jordan Pickford, you're sort of sitting there thinking 2 games, 6 goals scored, 2 goals conceded, joint top of the league, 9 goals if you include the Carabao Cup game. It's a fantastic start to the season. And not only have the new players come in and massively improved the team and showed that, they've added that element of quality that we just haven't had, but also the players around and the players that weren't performing last season, the players that struggled last season have upped their game and have showed to be a lot better as well. Gylfi Sigurdsson come off the bench and was fantastic as well. Done that defensive Allen role again, like we mentioned. He played against Salford City. He done it really well. Was dropping back, was picking the ball up, was playing really well. And then when he was getting forward, provided a good ball to Moise Kean on one occasion, and was good going forward as well. So again, a fantastic result. It wasn't the best overall performance, but a fantastic result. And ultimately, you can't sit here after winning 5-2 and say, we were shit, we were this, we were that. Yes, we could have been better defensively, but ultimately, going forward, we were just a force to be reckoned with. And we will be a force to be reckoned with this season going forward because we've got that quality. Not only James, but you've Richarlison, who seems to have stepped it up a level. Dominic Calvert-Lewin seems to have stepped it up a level. Like I said, Allen stepping in and being absolutely fantastic once again. Abdoulaye Doucouré stepping in and being quality. Luca Dean, another fantastic game. Michael Keane deserves a shout out. 2 goals. You know, the only player to have featured in all 3 games of the season so far, scored in 2 of them, defensively solid in all 3 of them. Fantastic performance by Michael Keane. You know, he was awarded a new 5-year contract in the summer, and a lot of people were a little bit hesitant as to regarding that, but for me, I think he's only showing that he deserves it. We're currently 5 people away from 100 people watching. If you could share the live stream, it would mean a massive amount to me. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. We are going to get in the live comments in just a moment. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Like I said, only takes a second. Please do hit the like button. It means a massive amount to me. Underground says, yeah, Lamptey will be a good replacement for Coleman. Chris says, Lamptey is class. He's been good enough last season too. Fair enough. Marshall says, I would take Tarek Lamptey as a right back from Brighton. Hell of a player. There you go. A lot of people interested in Lamptey from Brighton. Wayne says, West Brom, Fulham, Sheffield United will go down. Again, you know, it's a little bit early at the moment, but Sheffield United are another team that look to have struggled so far, haven't they? Wayne says, Mina looks scared of the ball. The first goal, he should have closed the player down instead of backing off and moving out the way of the back. And the free kick, he ducked instead of jumping. I agree, mate, I agree. Uden says his prediction for the Fleetwood game is a 4-0 away win for Everton. Hopefully, mate, we will have the game preview out to the Fleetwood game tomorrow. It won't be a live stream, it will be a video, but it will be up tomorrow night, so look out for that one. We'll have our predicted start 11s, and we'll talk more about the game as well. Chris says Aston Villa, Fulham and West Brom to go down. Matthew says came in late, but Mina looked really shaky. I agree. I think he did look shaky. James says Mina has to sort his legs out, but he will get better. He has to. We can't carry people. I'm sure he will be okay, at least till Holgate is back. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be alright. Again, maybe it was just a one-off performance, because he looked really good, to be fair, against Tottenham. So maybe it was just a one-off dodgy performance by Yerry Mina. Mikey says, when Gylfi came on, he offered more in 50 minutes than Gomez did in 70. Wayne says, Chelsea shat. We'll finish above them all day. I hope so, mate. Mikey says, wouldn't mind Gomez as a squad player, but he shouldn't be starting off as very little. James says, Siggy always does good off the bench, but he ain't got the legs. I agree. Even last season, when he wasn't performing fantastically and when there was a lot of pressure on him, I think even when he come off the bench in games last season, he looked good. He looked a lot better than he did do when he started games. I agree. Ian says, at the moment, Keane and Mina have to play every game now. Mina's a bit injury prone, so need someone in ASAP. Can't disagree with that, mate. Can't disagree with that. Philip says, just to show off, a mate of mine works at Finch Farm. Not undramatic like, but he came round to my house earlier with a Columbia number 10 shirt signed by the man himself. What a fella. What a fella. I just want to say as well about James Rodriguez, there's been a report issued today, or there's been some information issued today on social media that obviously we spoke on I don't know if you've seen the Friday's weekly news roundup video. We're going to try and do them every single Friday, by the way, the weekly news roundup video. But we spoke about how it was confirmed that James Rodriguez did sign for Everton Football Club on a free transfer because one of his old clubs, CAB Official, were due to receive a payment for the transfer, but because there was no transfer fee, they didn't receive a payment. It was announced earlier today that because the CIB Official didn't receive a payment for James Rodriguez, he actually donated a percentage of his wages to that club to help them with their academy and grassroots football. So he's not only an absolutely brilliant player on the pitch, but he is a fantastic man off the pitch. And Carlo Ancelotti, to be fair, has alluded to that. He said he's humble, he said he's a brilliant professional, he said he's a fantastic guy, and that's just been proven. And on top of all of that, he loves a bottle of Echo Falls. He just loves the Echo Falls. He's a true scouser. Wayne says, just Leicester to knock us on the top, hopefully only for a week. Well, it's early on, innit? It was good while it lasted, so after tweets and the social media interactions. But listen, ultimately, again, we're only a couple of games in. James says, nice. Scouser Blue Blood says, on holiday in Malta here. How's it going, lad? I'm not too bad, mate. How's your holiday going? I hope you're having a good one. I'm not too bad. Weather's decent here. Relatively sunny, relatively hot. I'm sure it's nowhere near as hot as it is, to be fair, in Malta. So I hope you're having a great time, mate. Philip says, awesome, made up. Luis Francisco Rijo Sepulveda says, desde Venezuela, el Vemosi le es Chuchamos. I'm sorry if I've absolutely butchered that, but I'm assuming that means that you're joining us from Venezuela. Thank you very much, Lewis. Really do appreciate that. James says, Tomori, defo take him, Cal. I defo take him, but only if Chelsea are going to get a move on and say, yeah, you can have him, we'll sell him to you. None of this, will it, mate? You might be able to have him, you mightn't be able to have him. We don't know yet. We'll see on the last week of the window. No, go in there this week and say, listen, make a decision on Tomori now, or we're walking away from it. Underground says we've been linked with Leon Bailey. We have. But says, do you think we play Delph and Keane in midfield? In midfield or in defence? I don't know. I wouldn't play Delph. To be honest, I'd sell Delph. I'd try and recoup some money back from him, and I just wouldn't allow him to, I just don't think he's good enough, and I don't think his attitude's in the right place. Wayne says, got a feeling we'll sign Zaha before we're done. A new keeper, centre-back, but right-back will have to wait unless we sell Kenny. Very fair point. Wayne says, Sport says, I wouldn't let Delph on the bus, he needs to leave. I'm sort of in that camp, to be honest with you, mate. Philip says, really hope Zaha comes before the weekend. They have a bad feeling and he scores against us. I don't think we'll sign him before the weekend. I just have a feeling, we won't. And if we do sign him, I think it'll be towards the back end of the transfer window. But listen, if he plays at the weekend, we have to be able to deal with that. We're going to come up this season. If we're going to want to finish in a top 6 or 7 position, if we're going to be able to challenge him for Europe, we're going to come up against a lot of good players this season, like Wilfried Zaha, and we're also going to come up against a lot of players that are better than Wilfried Zaha, so we have to be able to deal with that. But I understand where you're coming from, Philip, 100%. Underground says, Everton don't need club rejects like Delph anymore. Philip says, Mina needed to totally take the man out for the goal. You're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. James says, Mina moves his legs and Pickford reacted late. Defender has to do more for me. I agree. James says, but we'll put it right. Eugene says, I think Everton will qualify for the Europa Cup when we finish 6th in the Premier League. Philip says, agree, James, you should come out and flatten him. James says, I thought they weren't going to give the goal to you, mate. God knows why it took so long. Exactly, mate, exactly. Philip says, like Cam, thank you very much, mate. James says, people saying Richarlison doesn't look happy because Dom is coming, but going to be the main goal scorer for me. They're chatting shit, he looks good. Yeah, listen, Richarlison looks frustrated when he isn't scoring. He looks frustrated when he's not making the most of his opportunities. And to be perfectly honest with you, you cannot blame him. I like that attitude in a player. I like a player who is a little bit frustrated when he's not scoring, who is a little bit frustrated when he's struggling, because that shows that he's got that ambition to do better. He's got that attitude to do better. And I don't get me wrong, Richarlison was pictured jumping on James Rodriguez, screaming his head off when he scored the other on Saturday. He was pictured, in every goal celebration, he was there front and centre, screaming, loving it. So he's not fuming because he's not scoring. He just wants himself to do better, and you can't knock him for that. But anyway, listen, we will get back into the live comments before we finish up. But again, another really, really good result for Everton Football Club. Wasn't the greatest performance, certainly not in the first half, but the second half we really, really turned it on, and we showed our quality, and that's exactly what we need to do. We need to be able to do that. We need to be able to turn up in games, and if things aren't necessarily going against us, we can still turn up and turn it on, and that's exactly what we done on Saturday. A fantastic result, 5-2 win. Obviously, we move on to Fleetwood Town on Wednesday now. Another game in the Carabao Cup. Hopefully we can go on and put in another solid performance, win that game comfortably. I dare say it'll be a very similar starting 11 to the one that played against Salford last Wednesday, and then we go to Crystal Palace, and again a tough game. Crystal Palace won 2 of their Premier League games. Obviously big win against Manchester United last weekend, so that's going to be a difficult game for Everton, but we have to go out and ultimately we have to we have to win that game of football if we're going to want to keep the momentum going. Wayne says, enjoy your day off, have a boss weekend, Blues. Thank you very much, Wayne. Uden says, Sidibe return. No, mate, no. Philip says, even funnier, Bilic wasn't sent to the stand, he was sent to the car park, lol. Ian says, Sidibe played well. I didn't watch him, to be honest, I just seen him sky a free kick. Adam says, would you give Brands a new contract? 100%, mate. I'm not really in the Brands out brigade. I'm not really in the Brands hasn't done well for the football club. I think Brands made some fantastic signings. Bringing James Rodriguez in on a free was a brilliant signing. Obviously, Nazen Kunku, great player. Jared Branthwaite, fantastic player. So for me, I'd give him a new, and I think he is going to get a new contract, to be honest with you. He's a member of the board for a start, so they're not going to let us, they're not going to only give him one contract, are they? James Sidibe can't find his socks. Pinocchio Pitcher says, where do you feel Everton will finish this season? It's a little bit early on to judge at the moment, but for me, I'm thinking if we finish within the top 8 and win a cup competition, I'll be over the moon with that, mate. I'll be over the moon. Rival says there's a Mina header of a Hammers cross incoming in the next game. Let's hope so, mate. Anonymous says, if somebody says how do you describe world class, just say James Rodriguez. He is world class, and again, I got a little bit of stick for saying that on the instant match reaction. I flicked through the comments and there's a few comments saying, oh, he's only done it against West Brom, he's not world class. I don't know if, for me, listen, I don't know if I view football differently, but I view football in a way that it doesn't matter who a player is playing, whether he's playing West Brom, whether he's playing Barcelona, whether he's playing Manchester United, whether he's playing Classic XI with Pele and, you know, Maradona in. Doesn't matter who they're playing. You can tell a world-class player no matter who they're playing against, because they just have that quality. They have that ability on the ball. They have that vision to find a pass and to look at a pass that nobody else sees and to play that ball and land it at the feet of the player who they're wanting it to land at. And players do that against poor teams. They do it against world-class teams. A world-class player isn't judged by, oh, he's only done it against West Brom, or he's only done it against the poor Spurs side. A world-class player is looking at that fourth Everton goal and going, that build-up play, that chipped ball, is that of a world-class footballer, no matter who he's against. And that's how I see it. And like I said, for me, he is world-class. I don't care what anybody says. He is a world-class footballer. Philip says, McGull here. Women says, what's all this? Amanda says, just subscribe. Thank you very much, Amanda. Mike says, hello from California. It's 5:50 a.m. and I'm joining the Everton chat. Thank you very much, Mike. Really, really do appreciate you getting up so early to join us. Massive, massive thank you. Dave says, Seal Beach, California. Been here since 84. Love California, mate. I love it. One of my favourite places on the planet. Been to California, LA twice, and I just absolutely love it, mate. Big thanks, Dave, for watching. Philip says, hi, Mike. Eden says, apparently Rudiger wants out from Chelsea, according to Sky. Potentially, maybe we could go in for him. James says, Luca Dean, world class for me, and Alan and Richie, you're spot on. Anonymous Indian says, James. Ian says, super California, glad to have you with us. Remy says, Yerry Mina could have done better for both goals. Cam, I wasn't disappointed. I was disappointed in Yerry. Doesn't close the man for the first and got a jump in the wall for the second. But I was never worried we weren't going to win. All Chelsea defenders are not very good. I agree, spot on. Danny is from Boston, USA. Thank you very much, Danny. Really appreciate you joining us, mate. Remy says, accept Reece James. Ian says, Danny in the house. James says, Hammers is just a superstar. All good for us. Thanks to Carlo. You're spot on. If you are enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit the like button. We are getting involved in all of the live comments today, so a big thank you to everybody for watching. Nearly 100 people watching live. If we could hit that at 100, it would mean a great deal for me. But big thanks to the 89 people currently watching. Honestly, it means a massive amount to me. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. If you haven't already, please do hit that like button as well. Where are we then? Eugene says, Hodgson on Zaha future. Philip says, good morning to all of our US friends. Certainly, Philip, certainly. William says, what's this early lock? Cam, you on later doing a pre-game for Fleetwood? No, the pre-game preview, the game preview for Fleetwood will be tomorrow. I was just off work today and I sat down and thought, you know what? I'll do a little bit of a preview later. I've got some bits and bobs to do tonight, so unfortunately I won't be able to do a live stream, but there will be a preview for the Fleetwood game. It will be up tomorrow. Victor says, no, despite the performance of Hammers, in order to get Everton to get top places, all players must improve and really play as a team. You're spot on, Victor. You're absolutely spot on. James says Tomori has great stats when he plays. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying walk away because I don't think he's a good player. I'm just saying we can't afford to be pissing about for weeks and weeks and weeks to then be told on the last week of the transfer window, oh no, you're not signing him. Windmill says Tomori is probably the best out of them, but he is an experience. But they subbed him on, so I'm guessing we're not getting him. Yeah, Lampard's been very complimentary of Tomori recently. Windmill says it's early. Toothy says early. Windmill says I know. Toothy Cam's messing with us. James says we have improved. Just may only get better. Hammers is a baller. He certainly is. Dave says live at them. Leicester scored late on to put us second. Would have been nice first for a week. Can't stand Leicester. Yeah, it would have been nice, of course, but ultimately, look, we're still joined first, aren't we? And we were first for all of the weekend after like 1:15 or 1:20 on Saturday. So it was nice. And listen, all we have to do is focus on the next game, improve in the next game, and we could be right back up there. A couple of people talking about Thiago. I'm not going to go into too much talking about him because obviously not relevant to Everton. Dave says everyone's livid. We've got Hammers. You're spot on. Lowen says Premier League is a reality. It's a reality that Hammers is absolutely world class. You're spot on, mate. Toothy says I think we need 2 more centre backs and an Allen understudy. James says our team is strong on paper. Our team is strong. The players on paper are really good. We have to believe the fight. Every game we can do. Carlo knows. You're spot on. James says his smile when he was asked about James. Exactly, mate. His smile was absolutely brilliant. Gareth says if we get a winger and a centre-back before the window closes, I'll say we have got a chance of getting top 4. I agree, mate. I agree. We have to bring those players in, like you mentioned. We have to bring those players in. Mikey says Palace next week will be a proper test. They're a tough, organised team and good on the counter. This is where Rodriguez can split teams open. You're spot on, mate. You're spot on. It will be a big test. Toothy says it is looking likely Chelsea's hard to deal with. What's their effing problem? We sold them Ross Barkley for half his worth. Spot on. Rim says, I agree, Cam will be a force till one person gets injured. The step down is dramatic. Hopefully we can get the 3 mids, keep the 3 mids until he's Kabam is fit. Yeah, it is. It's all about fitness, but it's all about the players around the quality improving and stepping up a level and being able to stand in when those quality players, or if those quality players pick up a knock. Dodgebick says, hi Remy. Big Nozzer says, you can see the relationship Carlo has with James. This lad is going to be a sensation for us. Carlo will attract the best. You're spot on, mate. You're spot on. Remy says, Lampard went too hard. Toothy, they all disjointed at the moment and did nothing really to address their massive defensive issue. Can't think of enough names. Says the reason Gylfi's playing better is because he isn't playing with players embarrassing to watch. Yours says, what's Gylfi supposed to do with Tom Davis? Really, though, it's a fair point. Toothy says Fleetwood will be a tough for our B team. It will be a tough game. They'll want to obviously come in and win the game, of course. So it's going to be a tough test. It is going to be a tough test. I don't think anybody can argue with that one. Paddy says, what do you make of our centre-back shortage at the moment? We definitely need to bring in a lone centre-back. I think exactly that, Paddy. I think we need to bring in a new centre-half. At least a loan deal to cover, obviously, Mina and Keane at the moment because of the injuries. And I think we'll do that. I do think we'll do that. Big Nod says, Palace away next week. Maybe a deal could be struck for Zaha. James says 50 million he'd cost. Joey says that was better than Emery trying to speak English, Cam. Don't know if that's a compliment or not. Can't think of a name. Says we need Zaha, Arias, Tomori and Romero to win this title. Joey says this was better than Barton trying to speak French. I know it was shocking. William says I would rather we get Tosin Adebayo. I think he's the young Manchester City centre-half, isn't he? David, Chelsea are playing us again. Don't want to strengthen us until the latest possible moment. Exactly, mate, and we can't afford to let that happen. Philip says, Cam, that signed Colombian shirt, I intend to donate it as a fundraiser to Alder Hay. That's unbelievable, Philip. Big up to you for doing that. That's absolutely fantastic. Really big stuff. So thank you very much for doing that. That's amazing. Everyone's ripping me for me pronunciation. Condemnation says we need to win trophies now. To the Oliver says it's embarrassing calling Delph our player. JP says, hey Cam, happy the league is back. Nathan Ahi or Tomori. I'd probably say Tomori, considering he costed an awful lot less. And he wasn't part of a relegated. But I don't know. I think Nathan Ahi's a decent player. I don't know how much he'll improve City, but I do think he's a decent player. Rangers could do it shifting some of these fringe players this week. We could. Williams says hopefully they'll start going soon. Tooth says Seamus will keep Zaha in his pocket. Ewan says, did you hear about Gylfi Sigurdsson's brother-in-law? I did. I wasn't gonna mention this, but obviously it's been brought up now, so I don't want to go into detail, obviously because it's not my place, and I do think it's quite disrespectful and for me sickening that this story has been leaked to the newspaper and published in the newspaper when it was very clearly intended to be kept private. So I'm not going to go into detail. I just want to say all of our thoughts are with Gylfi Sigurdsson, his wife Alexandra and their entire family. It's such a tragic time. The news absolutely took me back yesterday when I read it. It was, it is absolutely tragic, and I just want to say all our thoughts go out to Gylfi Sigurdsson and his entire family. Raul says, I bet Everton will finish first. I hope so, mate. Can't think of a name. Says, Mina was poor against West Brom, but he's still our best centre-back. Do you think so? I'd say Michael Keane personally, but fair enough, each their own. Wormy says, see Leicester, I've got Cesar under. Weren't too convinced with under, but we were linked. Can't think of a name. Says, we aren't. Why aren't we talking about challenging for the league? Fuck, you don't believe we need to challenge for this title. I love the positivity, mate. Philip says, yes, mate. RIP to the lad. Best wishes to the family. You're spot on. James also says, yes, sad news. That terrible for the family. Yes, it certainly was. Man said, centre-back needed, and Carlos said in the post-game press conference, who do you think would fit most? I think they want Tomori out of anybody, but again, it's whether or not Chelsea would be, a decent side to sort of negotiate with. Dave says, Brands has just had the club's best transfer window. I agree. Conding says, there was never a Brands out brigade after signing Delphin Iwobi and finishing 12th due to his business. We had the right to call that. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. But I just think he's done an awful lot. He's done an awful lot more good for the club than he's done bad. But I completely understand that. I really, really do. Abigail says, time to offer permanent deals for Nunes. Toothy says, Brands has gone out and brought in damn near every player the manager wanted. That includes Marco Silva's players. Zuma, the only pursuit that didn't work. Fair point. Ian says, joking about Sidibe, who was announced in our starting lineup against West Brom instead of Hammers. Yeah, he was put in the number 19 because he was number 19 last season, which is, again, a club mistake, but quite a funny one, wasn't it? Joey says, need to take the Carabao Cup seriously, though, La. We certainly do, mate. Can't think of it, just top 8, lad. Top 8, come on, Cam, at least top 4, yeah. Top 4, come on, yeah. Why not? Why not? Look at the teams that have touted to play in top 4. Tottenham swatted them last week. United, they were dreadful. They ain't finishing nowhere near that top 4 if they continue. Chelsea, too many signings too soon. Arsenal, okay, they've done well this season, done well so far, but how long can they keep it up for? Joey says he's just terrorised Tottenham. Big Nod says Fleetwood 0, Everton 2, then the last 16, West Ham or Hull quarter-final, here we come. Yes, again, big chance to get into the quarter-final. Joey says, who's chatting that shit? Just some people on social media and in some comments. William says, apart from Iwobi, Brands has done well. I would guess Nkunku is worth 15 million. We paid 250k for him, and Branthwaite probably the same. Yeah, spot on. James says, spot on about world-class players. Peter says, Everton need to sign Lamptey, lookalike right back. Then we finished there. Perfect Coleman replacement. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit the like button. Get your live comments in. If you're watching this video, let's have your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Please do subscribe as well if you are new. Mike says, Gordon masterclass on Wednesday. Let's hope so. James says he was. Toothy says, I think Carlo likes Iwobi and so does Dunk. We just need to find a position for him which he can thrive. I agree. I think both do like him. Toothy says, but yeah, he was too expensive. Wayne says, Moise Keane had to come on Wednesday. I'm assuming you are meaning. Moise Keane will have to step it up. He will. Dave says, Sky, Lincoln, Rudiger to Liverpool. I'm not surprised, mate. I'm not surprised. Wayne says, hey, Cam, if you ever considered doing live reaction vids, I reckon you would get a lot of views after games now that we have a team that is so much more positive than last season. I am potentially, mate. Potentially. I'd have to see how it would work, obviously. But yeah, I'd definitely take it on board and have a little think about it, yeah. Toothy says, every top 6 sides are like, we should have signed James Rodriguez. Exactly. World-class player, mate. World-class. Can't think of any effing name. Says, am I the only one who has ambitions to win the league? No, we all do, mate. We all do. And you know what? If we can continue this run of form, why not? Can't think of any. Says, am I the only one? Oh no, we just read that one. OB says, greetings from I can't even say that. Saul. Everyone, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Toothy says, greetings from OB. Thank you very much, Toothy. Hammer says, we're above the shite, take it game by game, people. Exactly. Jonathan says, the Brazilian and Colombian connection, the best in the Premier League. Fair point, mate. Can't disagree with that one. Raymond says, I don't think we have the squad depth yet to think about first. No name need for 3 more signings. Spotbot says Gabaman is back in October. Spotbot says, think about Gomez starts when Gabaman is back. Depends. Gabaman's got a lot of work to do to get into this side. Wayme says, 3 more signings to challenge top 6. Gabaman can play centre-half. You're right, Mike says Tadibo looks like the most likely centre-half. He does want to leave Barcelona. That is the rumour. Toothy says it was a compliment, Cam. No news on Leon Bailey so far, mate. James says everyone wants to win the league. Cause we're Everton, aren't we? Hit our targets and go from there. Exactly, mate, exactly. Toothy says I thought Gabaman was back in November. Yeah, October, November time. I believe it is. It's a roundabout then. Omar says, do you think we'll get a European spot? I hope so, mate. Big Nose says, love the show, Cam. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, mate. Sodden says, Poitot is a good young left-footed centre-back, potentially. James says Michael Keane's our best centre-back. I agree. Jack says Koeman wants Richarlison. I'm sure he does, mate. I'm sure he does, but he ain't getting anywhere near him. William says, but whenever he is back, Gabaman will be a fair bit to get his fitness back. He hasn't played for 18 months. I agree. Carl says, good afternoon, Cam. A centre-back, a winger and a right-back should secure us top 6. I hope so. Arif says, love your vids, Cam. Thank you very much. He says, I predicted Man United to challenge. Potentially, maybe they could. Jack says, Richarlison moving to Barca in January. No chance, mate. Absolutely no chance of it happening. Union says, Everton will win the EFL Cup this season. I hope so. William says, I agree with Carl. We need a right back, a right wing, and a centre back to challenge. Philip says, don't be daft. Carl says, glad you agree with me. Liam says, don't know what it is, but I'm not convinced we are still in for Zaha. I'm not pushing that we are still in for Zaha. Sorry, I'm not pushing that we get a feeling there's still interest. I myself change my mind on Zaha every week. Fair enough. William says, Richarlison loves it at Everton. We've given him the Rodders and he's here. If we stay in Europe, he'll stay. If we get in Europe, he'll stay. I agree. Scott says, I think Everton will win the treble. DCL will get the golden boot. Ancelotti and the Almighty will get the manager of the year. And James Rodriguez will be Ballon d'Or. Let's hope so, mate. Wayne says, Everton news now for the latest Everton news blues, just in case you don't use it. Scott says, okay, it's James Rodriguez. Andrew said, do you like the new green thicket? I do. Ian says, South Korea in the house. Thank you very much. Fabio says, Jimmy Rodriguez. We've had the donation, £4.99, £5 from Amanda Stevens saying keep it up. Thank you very much, Amanda. Really do appreciate that one. JP says, can you hear about the Victorian Society trying to block the stadium build? Yeah, they're just gobshites, mate. They're just absolutely gobshite. They haven't got a clue what they're doing. I believe the owner of that company is a Liverpool fan as well, so there you go. And Tudy says, I know Koeman failed miserably here and see some players like Dirt. And Big Nod says, tell Koeman we'll keep Richie, but he can have Balassi for 30 million. There you go. He'd probably sign him as well. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. We're on for ages today. Listen, 95 people currently watching. A big thanks to everybody. Really do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. It only does take a second. Big thanks to Amanda, of course, for that donation. Really do appreciate that, Amanda. If you're watching live in the live comments, big thanks to everybody for getting involved. If you're watching the YouTube video, massive thanks to everybody in the YouTube comments as well. Really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow with the game preview ahead of Wednesday's Carabao Cup third round fixture against Fleetwood Town away from home. So join us for that one. We'll be having my predicted starting 11 and all of that good stuff. Big thanks for watching. Fabio says his name is James David Rodriguez. Abigail says I played Kyle John before I played Delph. Can't think of it. We need to keep it up in the league with soft arts. Liam says nice one. Cam Williams says take care, guys. Thank you very much. Like I said, big thanks for watching. What a win. What a result. What a second half performance. Let's keep the momentum up now. Go on. Beat Fleetwood on Wednesday and then go and get a big result against Crystal Palace on Saturday. Big thanks for watching. James says thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Philip says later, Cam. You can see about the toffees and see it on Wednesday evening. Thank you very much. Dosbick says bye, Wormy. Liam says take it easy, toffees. Thank you very much. Big thanks, everyone. Really do appreciate the support. Like I said, join us for the not live game preview. Join us for the game preview tomorrow. Be up around about 6-7 o'clock in the evening. Big thanks for watching. That is to the Fleetwood game, of course. Subscribe if you're new. Leave the video a like. Carl says I missed most of the team, but I'll watch the replay. Take care, Cam. Thank you very much, Carl. Really do appreciate that. See you soon on the Mighty Blues.